Hey, you. Yeah, you. Welcome to the Malaka podcast. Roseanne. Obviously, when you mention that name, you're not going to confuse that person with a statue or some kind of other TV show that was a hit in the 80s. You know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about Roseanne Barr. Comedian, actress, entertainer, and basically a woman that has no filter. Recently, she's been in trouble with the social media, as people call it these days. And she went on Twitter and she made a comment about President Obama's senior advisor, Valerie Jarrett. And she said this: Muslim Brotherhood and Planet of the Apes had a baby. Now, let's just, you know what? I don't have to say anything to that. I mean, it's 2018. If you're still the type of person that's describing someone who is black or maybe looks black or whatever, and you describe him as an ape, yeah, it's not a good move, man. I mean, I don't know. You might as well just, take your pitchfork and move to the south. So, but then again, Roseanne has always said shit like this. I mean, she's always said like, random shit that's on her mind. So why now do people care? I mean, has PC gotten really that crazy? And again, I'm not defending what she said. I think it's fucked up. I mean, clearly it's racist. She said she was on Ambien. She was about to go to bed. She was tired and whatever. But I'm gonna be honest with you. I mean, it's like saying, okay, yeah, I was shit faced. That's why I, punched, the taxi cab driver because I didn't have an extra $2 for a tip. It's bullshit. I mean, your truth will come out. Like when you're high or drunk or whatever, the truth comes out, and there's no way of hiding that. Let's just say this. For example, let's say if I hire OJ Simpson to be the security guard in my strip club. Now, if he ends up killing one of my girls in 2 weeks, who's really to blame here? You know what I'm saying? I mean, this isn't something I don't even think is up for debate. I mean, you knew about her past. Why are you surprised that something like this would happen? The other thing that I find weird about this now is they want to take her out of her own show. So I guess it won't be called Roseanne anymore. It'll be called, I don't know, I guess John Goodman's the next in line, so I guess it'd be called Dan. And yeah, she will have nothing to do with it, which is weird to me because I thought she owned the show. So I thought they couldn't do anything without her. But I guess, I mean, who knows? I mean, even if that is true, there's probably some technicality out there. She can probably, get fired from the show, and then they can create a whole different show. Because I guess maybe technically the rights to the characters are owned by the station NBC. I mean, who knows? I'm sure there's so many loopholes. They will obviously move on without her. And it's funny if you've seen the last season of the show, which I thought was pretty good. It's more based on the kids and like what they're going through now. So I'm sure they'll have a lot to work with. But yeah, again, I mean, you knew who you were hiring. So, like, what's the big deal? You know? Well, the big deal is you guys got to do your research, and just because someone goes a couple years without saying any stupid shit, that doesn't mean they're not going to say stupid shit again, you know? I mean, Robert Blake hasn't gone on a crazy tirade for, at least what, maybe 5, 6 years? Does that not mean he's gonna not do something else stupid, Not get another wife and, well, okay, anyways. The point is, you gotta know when you hire someone, you gotta know their background. And that goes for any job, but it's so sad with Roseanne because in the 80s, everyone knows this, the late 80s, she had a hit show named Roseanne after herself. And she fought tooth and nail to get that show on the air. I mean, for the first season, they didn't even want her to call the show Roseanne. And it's like, well, why not? It's her show. I mean, they wanted to call it, I don't know, some stupid shit like Family Squabble or I don't know, like whatever, I mean, it's her show, you put it on there, You got Seinfeld, you got everybody loves Raymond, Roseanne, but it just works, And what made the show so great is that it showed how people were actually really living back then and still now. Even the recent season, they've tackled, issues about Trump and how Roseanne is a Trump supporter. Again, I don't know if this is her views in real life transferring onto the show or, who knows. But, dealing with financial situations, just everyday shit that families deal with. And back then, like, in the 80s, it was very, like, family friendly, like, I don't know, like shows like, whatever, Family Ties or Growing Pains, and everything was, fine, hunky-dory, and then the last 2 minutes, the show was solved, whatever, I'm not making fun of those shows or anything, but, it was very, it wasn't that realistic. It wasn't. I mean, they weren't tackling with, like, serious issues, so... It's just a shame that it has to end like this with Roseanne. But apparently the show is moving on. And let's see what happens. I mean, can the show last without Roseanne? Will it be as popular? I know like Roseanne is an acquired taste. A lot of people love her. A lot of people hate her, As me personally, I always liked her. I mean, I didn't like a lot of the things she said over the years. Me personally, as long as she doesn't sing the national anthem again, I'm good. Just don't sing the Canadian one either. Just never sing any anthem again. Yeah, try not to sing any song again. If you could do that for me, Roseanne, it's all good. So, yeah, we'll see what happens over the years. I mean, who knows if she'll make a little comeback. Maybe she'll get another show somewhere else. Who knows? Maybe she'll get a TV show on Netflix like everybody else does in 2018. I mean, who knows? Let's just see what happens. I'm still going to tune in for the new show, I mean, it's got to be weird, though. I mean, they're still there, but she's not. And I don't know, maybe they care, maybe they don't care. I mean, you never know what goes on behind the scenes of a TV show, I mean, everyone's like, smiling in the promos and all the pictures, but you really never know what's going on there. You don't know if... secretly you want someone to leave and then you could step up to the bat and have more stage time and who knows. Ever since then, though, to her credit, she has tweeted, "I apologize to Valerie Jarrett and to all Americans. I am truly sorry for making a bad joke about her politics and her looks. I should have known better. Forgive me. My joke was in bad taste. I apologize. I am now leaving Twitter." Now, once again, I've said this before. I've probably said this 107 times. Drinking and drugs and Twitter don't mix. Once you put something in print, it's there forever. Like if I print out "fuck you," That's what it means. Fuck you. You don't know the tone I was saying it in. You don't know if I was saying it in a jokey Canadian kind of way, like, fuck you. You know, like, you have no idea. But once it's there, it's there. It's going to leave a permanent stain forever. And unfortunately, she's paying the price for it. You know, but at the same time, she shouldn't have said that. So, you know, it's amazing though, like back in the day, if you did say something like this, wait, what am I saying? You couldn't say something like this. That's my point. I mean, anybody can just go online and say whatever they want. I mean, sometimes honestly, when I do these podcasts, I try to share my views, and I'm pretty straightforward. But at the same time, I wonder if I say something, is it gonna come back to me? Who knows? You never know. Definitely not gonna do a comparison to Planet of the Apes anytime soon, so don't worry about that. But other than that, I mean, you never know. But yeah, just stay away from Twitter. When you're intoxicated, just don't bother. Don't do it. It's not worth it. You could end up losing a second chance at a hit TV show. But in the end, I think, honestly, Roseanne will be okay. I mean, Roseanne, her number one thing has always been, to me anyways, is stand-up comedy. She's always been a pretty strong woman there, and always, saying whatever's on her mind. And, I think worst case, she'll be okay. And if she really wanted to right now, she could just retire. Just relax. I heard she grows cashews or something like that. I mean, she's got like a cashew farm or something. I love cashews. Cashews are delicious. They're one of my favorite nuts. Pause. And, just live a very comfortable life. Why not? I mean, what else more does she have to prove in this business? I mean, if she retired right now, the number one thing she'd be remembered for is the show Roseanne. Maybe a little bit of this and, how it ended, but, what are you going to do? You live this life, you say the wrong things, especially in the entertainment business, you got to know that it's going to come back to haunt you. Especially with social media venues like Twitter, it'll always be there forever. And the best thing you can do is just apologize, give a meaning apology, really mean it, no bullshit, and move forward. Now, apparently Roseanne has been in quite a few things over her career. I mean, like I said before, she retires today. She'll be known for Roseanne, of course, but she's done a lot of stand-up as well. A lot of people don't realize when Rodney Dangerfield went on tour, he would basically acquire a lot of comedians on his team. And, such greats as Jim Carrey, Jeff Foxworthy, Tim Allen, Sam Kinison, Andrew Dice Clay, and Roseanne. And Roseanne, I'm assuming, probably learned a lot from Rodney Dangerfield, and who wouldn't want to join him on tour? Roseanne also showed up a couple times on Johnny Carson's show, and back in the day, if you can stand out there and if you get invited to the couch, which I've talked about before, I don't really agree with, but back then that was a really big deal. If you're able to do that, then the next day your phone's ringing off the hook and you're pretty much guaranteed work for the next couple years. Shortly after that, she got offered the role to play Peg Bundy in Married with Children, but she turned it down. Actually, apparently what I heard was originally they wanted Roseanne and Sam Kinison to play Al and Peggy Bundy, and that just apparently never worked out. But I think it still worked out pretty well. When she started taping the Roseanne show, or Roseanne as it was just called, in October 18th, 1988, it was watched by 21.4 million households. and it was the highest rated debut show of that season. So after that, after all that bullshit, after all that grind of doing the stand up, it paid off. It absolutely paid off. And the show was sold as just basically a blue collar family just dealing with everyday problems. And a lot of people didn't think it was going to last. A lot of people didn't think it, I mean, that concept, there's no niche, there's no, angle. It's not like I don't know, two dads and they have to raise one son together, and it's not a guy living with a tiger or something. It was just a plain simple show, plain simple concept, and it ended up working out really well. People could actually relate to it. Why? Because they were going through the same shit. So why wouldn't they? Another cool fact, for the last 2 seasons of Roseanne, she earned, give or take, $40 million, and it made her the second highest paid woman in show business at that time, after Oprah Winfrey. And then after that, the world was pretty much her oyster. She killed it on TV, and now it's time to kill it in the movies. Sort of. Yeah, not really. She basically did She-Devil, and the movie's just basically about a woman who finds out her husband's having an affair and just wants to get back at her and him. And it was all right. It was okay. Nothing really special, but it didn't really get good reviews. I don't think it made that much money, and like I said before, like with Roseanne, like she's such an acquired taste. It really it's either you love her or you hate her. There's no real middle. And that's the problem with a lot of TV stars is they can kill it on TV for a very long time, but can that translate to a movie career? And a lot of times it doesn't. My theory is that a lot of these people, they're just so used to seeing it for free on TV. Why would they actually go out and see this person in movies? Or maybe they read the reviews and they're like, okay, we'll wait till his video, and then if the movies don't start getting better or start making money, then that's pretty much it. You've basically ran up your winning streak. I'm looking through all her movie discography here, and I don't know. There's not much to say. I remember Look Who's Talking 2. She jumped on that franchise, and I think they made like 3 of them, or I don't know, the third one. I don't know. At that point, the dogs were talking. I don't know. But again, like her show was her money for sure. She could always depend on that. And of course, there's always touring with stand up. Everyone always says when you go on tour, that's where the money is. So, of course, I'm sure she kept doing that while the show was on hiatus, or maybe even during the show. Who knows? But either way, you combine those two together, that makes for a pretty successful career. Speaking of successful careers, Tom Arnold. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Man. Truth be told, I always liked Tom Arnold. I don't know. The thing with Tom Arnold is like, if you see him in interviews today, he's very like eccentric. He's very like just energied up. Just ready to pop at any minute. I can't picture him back in the day when he would just abuse drugs and drink, and he must have just want to like. I'm exhausted just thinking about it. The guy must have, had the energy to jump out a window and just bounce right back up. It's insane. I always heard stories where, like, a guy like John Goodman, he'd be on set and they didn't really get along, I'm surprised there. I'm sure he probably didn't get along with most of the people there. Because I think at one point he was, like, a writer as well. And then he started on the show, for a little bit, and must have drove everybody nuts. There's only so much you can take. I've put up with, drug addicts myself, and holy shit, it is a pain in the royal ass, you know. And in this case, like, what are you gonna do? It's her husband, so unfortunately, you just gotta put up with it. But I guess it's just the way of the business. I heard this weird rumor. I don't know. Like, to this day, I still have no idea if it's true. Like, apparently, like, I mean, Tom Arnold, he received a nice little paycheck after the divorce, but there's some kind of rule where, like, he can't mention her by name, or he can't make fun of her or something like that, or else, like, every time he does, or he does that publicly, whatever, or even privately, I mean, who knows, like, it could cost him like 100 grand or something. Like, I mean, it didn't end well, man. Let's just say that. I mean, some some marriages are just not meant to be. It's almost like you can make a She Devil 2 just on that marriage alone. One thing I didn't know is that in real life, Roseanne has a lesbian sister, and she has a gay brother, which clearly were inspirations for the show. I mean, there was a gay character on there. I thought it was always funny the way they introduced him too. I think they were like, Dan was playing like a game of poker with his buddies. He invited him, and like they were just joking around about like being gay or whatever. And he says, no, I'm actually gay. And like, no, you're just joking. He's like, no, really, I'm gay. And like everyone's just like frozen at the table, like nobody knows what to do. And then her friend there, she was a lesbian. And yeah, I mean, she had no problem, putting it out there. I mean, you gotta understand, like back in the day, I mean, this was pretty taboo. I mean, like it was mentioned on TV for a little bit here and there, but I mean, it was like if someone was gay on the episode, it was like the whole reason for the episode. Now, I mean, they have just shows that have like 3-4 gay people on there. Like, it's no fucking big deal. Like, who cares, right? But back then it was a big deal. And apparently, from what I'm told, one woman starred on the show and had a kiss with Roseanne. So 2 women kissing. I believe that was the first time that ever happened on television. Now, of course, like I said before, Roseanne has said and done some stupid shit. One of them is she did an interview with People magazine in 1991, and she said she was an incest survivor. Both of her parents physically and sexually abused her. But then, I think like 20 years later, she appeared on Oprah, and she said the word incest might have been the wrong word to use. So it's kind of like a back and forth thing with her. I mean, like, you never know if she's like being serious or bullshitting. I think at one point she said like she had like 6 personalities and none of them get along with each other. So I mean, like, you have no idea what this woman's thinking sometimes. But they say a lot of people, that are crazy. I mean, deep down, they're geniuses, so who knows? Now, in July 2009, she actually posed as Hitler in a satirical Jewish publication, Heb magazine, called That Oven Feelin'. Now, I'm pretty sure that Roseanne is Jewish herself, but even still, again, pushing the limits. She dressed up as Hitler, and she was taking out a tray of gingerbread men or what she called burnt Jew cookies out of the oven. Now, again, I don't know what this is gonna solve. I mean, like nothing positive can come out of this, I'm just saying, I don't know. Now, a couple years after this, she showed up on a show called The Green Room. And the Green Room is just basically a bunch of comedians, just gathered around, just shooting the shit, whatever. And they were talking about the picture, and you know, Patrice O'Neal actually made a pretty clever joke. God rest his soul. He said the only way you could make this picture worse is if you made the gingerbread cookie skinny. Now, again, you're with a bunch of comedians. It's basically free for all. I mean, you can basically say whatever you want, whatever's on your mind. And that's what good comedy is. In the end, it's uncensored. You can say whatever you want. But, if you're in a magazine, especially a satire magazine making fun of Jewish people, maybe it's not the best route to go down. I mean, even if you are Jewish, which, if anything, is pretty... It doesn't make it better. Let's just say that. And in 2014, Roseanne Barr had to put in her 2 cents towards the George Zimmerman situation for fatally shooting Trayvon Martin. And she tweeted out the guy's home address and the phone number in 2012. Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, you're gonna start some shit with that for sure. I mean, that's a no-brainer. I mean, but at the same time, again, it's a very tricky subject. Maybe it's one of those situations where it's like, okay, let's just enjoy it from over here, and let's just see how this one pans out, because I don't want any involvement. So, yeah. But also in late March 2018, Barr tweeted about the conspiracy theory involving David Hogg, who was a survivor at the high school shooting in Parkland, Florida. And apparently she said that he gave a Nazi salute. I'm not even going to bother pointing out the irony there. At the March for Our Lives rally on March 24th. But since then, Barr deleted her tweet. So, again, it just seems like, I don't know, Roseanne Barr is just bringing on all these problems herself. I mean, there's no reason to do any of this. I mean, what's next? She's going to run for president? Oh, okay. Oh, no, wait. Apparently she tried to run for president. That's true. Okay. Okay. Well, she's racist, so, I mean, I guess that's one qualification to be an American president. Yeah, so she... wanted to run for president in 2012. Clearly she didn't win. Maybe Kanye West will have better luck in 2020. We'll see what happens. But yeah, again, having her for president, look, the point is, Roseanne just loves to just start shit up, I talked about Norm Macdonald in a previous podcast, and yeah, he likes to do that too, but I mean, there's smart ways of doing it. I mean, Roseanne will just, take the bazooka right to your face and just pull the trigger. I mean, there's no warning, no nothing. It'll just come out and, blow your face off, so... In the end, with Roseanne, I think she's very funny. I mean, she's created, one of the best shows of all time. Like I said, we'll see what happens, when The Conners air soon. And, yeah, I mean, will it be the same without Roseanne? Or will it be better? Will it be worse? I mean, who knows? I mean, Roseanne is always just... spoke her mind, and she doesn't give a shit. Also, I forgot to mention that Norm Macdonald actually wrote a lot of the episodes back in the day for Roseanne, and I'm pretty sure he had a little bit of involvement with the recent season as well. And he always said this. He said one of his favorite Roseanne jokes was... like, a lot of people say I look like a guy, and then, I turn around and tell them to go suck my cock. So, just like Roseanne's always going to be Roseanne, I mean, I love that joke too, so, I mean, I'm not even going to lie. But, I always saw her just as a very strong woman, but I think she's got, like, a lot of, insecurities deep down, and I don't know, I just don't think she's just dealing with them very well. I mean, instead of like, getting help for it, she's just saying whatever's on her mind just for more attention, and it just adds fuel to the fire. And it's just a roller coaster. It's like, okay, yeah, we finally forgot what you said. We finally forgot, the shit you said, and then you said something else, and then okay, back, yeah, it goes up and down all the time. So who knows? Is she gonna say or do something else in the future? Who knows? But she's always been herself, and nobody can ever say otherwise. But at the same time, if you live this life, especially in 2018, where you say anything in the public eye, especially online, you're going to be judged for it forever. And that's something Roseanne didn't really have to worry about in 1988. You say something on stage in a comedy club in the 80s, I mean, you could be performing for 100 people, you could be performing for 8 people. They're going to hear your set for, 5, 10, 20 minutes, and, that's it. Today you go into a club or you're on set for a show, I mean, the cameras are on. We're not talking about those big ones that are on wheels. We're talking about the ones in our pockets. The recorders are on. The pictures are lighting up brighter than they did in the 1920s with the bulbs. You got to be aware of what you say. And I'm not saying say racist shit and, just be careful with it. I'm saying don't be racist at all. Don't say things that deep down are going to cost you. In the end, just make sure you think before you talk. And that goes for anybody. I mean, you work so hard to build your career, and then you go on Twitter and say some shit, and it's done. That's it. Your career that you worked for like 8 years could be done in not even 8 seconds. And being intoxicated and going online and using your Twitter fingers is not going to help the situation at all. Either get fucked up or don't own a computer. You can't have both. You cannot have both. As an entertainer or just a plain human being, please feel free to say whatever you're thinking about whatever subject in life. But always remember, people are always watching you. People are always listening. And people can't wait to destroy your career just over a tweet. Always remember that. Roseanne.